So you got access to share the screen, Nate.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Keith, thanks again for giving me this opportunity. Very thankful to have met you, and I believe you reached out to me, so I'm very thankful that you did. But yeah, our goal with eCarrier Check is simply to help you. Everyone's dispatchers, right, Keith? Or do we got some
Yes,
brokers?
yes. Everybody dispatchers.
Okay. So what our goal is to help you dispatchers is essentially obviously find carriers and brokers and build the relationships with them. Now, when eCarrier Check first started, they didn't have that ability. Jared, who is the creator, he built it to help himself find more shippers and more carriers that matched up together. So once he understood that dispatchers were in need of brokers and carriers, we added that. But essentially, these are just leads. So we'll touch base on the carriers and brokers, and I'll show you a little bit about the shipper database too as well. And then to add to that, we actually have a way for you to, make a list of your brokers, of your carriers, export them. So if you're familiar with Excel, I'm happy for that because we can do a lot with Excel. I do a lot of marketing as far as I bet you guys do too as well. You could probably see some of the marketing tools I use up top here, and I constantly just upload my Excel sheets. And we pull out so much data that where, like the phone numbers, email, stuff like that, you can upload it to wherever, and it's really easy to do. And, if you ever get into that point of your marketing, you need some assistance, just let me know. But essentially, how we get our data when we update it, that's typically where I like to start because it's very important. So as far as now, and this will be changing on the next update, for those of you that that were here, that's we are coming out with like an eCarrier Check 2.0. It's really just going to be a lot better data, a lot more raw, a lot more specific. But for this platform here we got going now, we're updating our carrier database and broker database once a month. So just for you to understand, we do have, recently added carriers on the site. If you want to find carriers that are just got into this industry or maybe 3 months old, we can find you them. We can find you carriers that have specific equipment. If you're comfortable with box trucks or vans, we can find those guys in any area. So we essentially just get this from the FMCSA. Okay. They send it to us. We upload it, once a month. Same thing with brokers. We do see inspection data. Which is nice about this is this will keep you ahead of other dispatchers, in my opinion, because if you build a relationship with brokers and they got lanes going, specific areas, or maybe just, dedicated lanes, if you can find carriers that we see on this site that are running those lanes, I feel like that just puts you ahead of other dispatchers, in my opinion. But so yeah, we do see some inspection data. You'll get a good look at that. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in on how to actually use it and start searching, because that seems to be obviously, the best place to start. And then everything you see today, it will be changing here on the next update. More user friendly, I promise you that. But yeah, we're always here to help you if you need. Victoria was calling me, asking questions. I love it. I love questions. We want to make sure that you guys are getting full potential out of the site. So up in the smart bar here, it's going to ask you what you're looking for. Okay, you can look up brokers up here, right? We even have brokers registered to broker freight and brokers with their own fleet. So just brokers with assets, right? You can also find, cranes. We have tow trucks on here. So if your carrier, something happens with your carrier, you can add more value to them just like this, okay? I've seen people use it, so I know it works. You can find, your dry van carrier. So there's your dry van, right? Got your hazmat. And like I said, we do have shippers on the data. Dry van, you type it or you name it, we have the equipment on here, right? We got owner operators, power only. I can type. We got box trucks. One thing I will tell you, on our site, it'll be different on this next update, but as you can see on some of these carriers, they got little circles with percentages and equipment. That's just basically giving you an idea of, okay, well, how much is, Virgil Miller using of drop deck? Well, they seem to be doing more drop deck than RGN than flatbed, right? So we're trying to give you an idea of really, or paint you that picture of what they're using the most, right? Now, obviously, our data gets even more concrete when we see more data on them. When they go through inspections, we know what they've been inspected with. So a good example would be, let's just say for instance, this carrier here, we don't have an equipment on them. basically we haven't seen enough information, and typically we should have equipment on there. I'm not sure why this guy doesn't, but we have algorithms that we built on the site that my programmers did anyways. But essentially when these carriers sign up with the FMCSA, they're flagging, what type of equipment they have, or, what kind of commodity do they want to haul, stuff like that, right? So we see that information and we throw it on our site. They're not going through inspections, it's hard for us to kind of paint you a full picture, but from what they signed up with, this is what we gathered. Okay. So that's what the percentages are indicating. So this smart bar is really helpful just to kind of speed things up. Okay. So for instance, if you want to do, a lot of your students have been calling for box truck carriers. So let's do this for an example. And when this is all going through the smart bar, okay, I'll show you another way to do this, but this is how I like to do it. So the smart bar, box truck carriers, where do you want them located, right? Or where do you want them operating near? So the difference between those two actually is located near is, well, their headquarters has to be in Houston, Texas, right? Or wherever location you put in. Or maybe you want them operating near Houston, or maybe, they've been inspected going through that area. And then run a lane, pretty self-explanatory. Maybe you want to find some box truck carriers going from Houston to, Atlanta, just to kind of give you an idea. So this will pop up if you go through that smart bar. Let's run a search here really quick. And as you can see, here's our map, right? You get a little radius bar. It goes from 5 to 300. So depending on how close you want to be to Houston, you can adjust that. And then all you would have to do is run your search again. So simply here, what I pulled up are 7 pages, and there's 25 carriers to a page. Okay. And then before I kind of move on to what we're showing you here, I do want to show you these filters. So we do have 2 sets of filters. I know it's kind of confusing, but I want to explain this really quick to help clarify some of that confusion. Because obviously you don't see box truck down here, right? You don't see that. So typically when I see people using my site, they'll either go through that smart bar, or you can come in here under carriers, find by location. Okay, so 2 different ways already to kind of search. And then again, type in your location, but go back to Houston. Now, obviously, like I said, there's no box truck here, no straight truck. But if you were to get in the flatbed, check this out. I'm gonna hit flatbed, automatically search for me. So there's 242 pages, okay? So let me show you another way to do box trucks here. So preset filters, right here, right under this map. I'm gonna get rid of that. And then filters here on the right-hand side, this is where we get more specific, okay? So here you can also search brokers. So maybe you do want to find brokers in Houston. Well, then just hit brokers and apply your filter, okay? And this is how you know you're looking at brokers. Broker, 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 okay? Let's go back to carriers for a second. So here's our carriers. You can hide list active companies, and I really do recommend this if you're pulling up, if your list were to come up anything over 100, in my opinion, I would use that button. I want to find more active carriers and get rid of the ones that aren't active, or they have, if they don't have a inspection within the last year, we're going to take them out by hitting just yes, if that makes sense. So yes, let's do that. Fleet type. Here's your combination. Here's your straight truck. If you want to go about it this way, instead of that smart bar, right? And then again, just apply your filter, right? 259 pages there. And then as you start going through these filters, you'll understand that, hey, we got hazmat, that may not make sense to a box truck, right? But we do have operating authority. Maybe you only want to find carriers that have just a DOT number. And then also MC, freight forwarder, MX for Mexico, right? Here's a cool search that I really do. It's kind of one of my favorites on the site is, well, what if you want to find every carrier that essentially haul tequila or, plastic? This would be your area. And what's kind of cool is you don't even have to add an equipment type to run these searches right here, and you get the freedom to pick what you want. So for instance, if you wanted to do, plastic, well, you can come here and just type in plastic and then apply your filter. Okay, now it's not going to make sense because I'm looking at box trucks. So it just wouldn't make sense for me to kind of run that, but maybe more general freight. Okay, so let's just say, for instance, we're looking at flatbed carriers, but you want to get rid of, building materials, right? Or maybe motor vehicles. So you can actually exit those out, and it takes out the carriers that say they haul those specific cargo. Okay, so it's kind of cool. You get the creative, you be creative right here. You could find carriers that are hauling specific commodity and kind of go about your list that way. So let's move on here. Like I said, we do have a way for you to find newer carriers and also older carriers. This is where you would want to find those older ones, maybe 3 months or older or 2 years or older. Okay. And I'll show you in a second where we can find those newer cats. Safety rating. I wouldn't pay attention to this too much. We're actually going to be taking it out on our next update, but essentially you can start searching, carriers that are satisfactory or conditional, right? Obviously, I probably wouldn't recommend using the unsatisfactory. So there's those for you there. Fleet size. So some of these carriers you're going to find out, okay, well, these guys got 3 straight trucks. This guy has 1 straight truck. And what I'm doing is I'm hovering over this little black circle, and it's, again, painting a picture for you as far as what they flagged when they signed up with the FMCSA. So this guy here says, well, I got 1 straight truck, but 2 drivers. Oh, here's some of the commodities that I would haul, right? And keep in mind, just because that says that, they're obviously hauling more than just that. They got to pay the bills somehow, so they're probably stepping out of their comfort zone. But here gives you the ability to change the fleet size. Maybe you want to find carriers that have 50, at least 50 trucks, or maybe 5 trucks, or just 1, right? So we could do the owner operator run or the owner operator search. So it all kind of depends on what your business model is right now and where you're trying to find. So fleet size could help you find those smaller trucking companies. From here, the truck GVWR, I'm going to highlight all this for you really quick, but this is our VIN database. Okay. Everything in blue here, the pounds to the trailer length, to the axles, truck axles, and trailer, and then also more trailer types for you down here. Okay. So this VIN database allows us to find those carriers that were inspected with that 53-foot flatbed or dry van, whatever that was, right? So this section here will help you find those carriers that have been inspected with that, whatever you highlight here. Okay. I know there may be some on this call that maybe you'd be interested in, just for example, maybe stretch RGN or maybe a roll off. So if if ever become a broker, this can help you really diversify your company and even grow it even more. Okay. So for instance, if you need to find a stretch flatbed for, let's just say, for example, for a shipper or maybe a broker, well, you get that ability now, and then apply your filter, right? And then we're going to pull up a whole list of stretch flatbed. Okay. So it's kind of cool. You don't really have to say no to anyone anymore. We can all find it for you right here. We do have driver teams. We do have some distance traveled. Maybe you're looking for first mile, last mile, or maybe some trailer drop indicators. So people that have excess equipment, maybe you're looking for some of those. We do have trailer hitch as well. So these are all of our filters that we have that are available to you to use, and I highly recommend it. Every person's search is different, and you'll probably find different results, and that's okay. That's the goal, is to be different than the next dispatcher, than you. You want to be better, add more value. So really quick, let's talk about what we do show, what is available. So obviously the trucking company name, right? DOT number, MC number. And then we don't see the circle with the box truck here that will be added on the new update, but let's just kind of run a search here that will show us more data really quick here, because I want to show you guys some things. Okay. So for instance, here's an example. Here's a carrier here. He does do some van and specialty flatbed. He's out of Houston, right? There's his info, how many power units he has. There's the email, phone number. And what's kind of cool is you have the opportunity to actually call from our site. So if you're lazy like me, and sometimes you fat finger numbers, well, if I click the dial button, it's going to actually connect my phone to that carrier's number that I'm trying to call. And you can do the same thing with brokers too. So it just kind of speeds up the process. Like I said, if you're lazy like me, I really do enjoy that. And then there's your little black circle to kind of give you a little bit more information on that carrier. But let's dive deeper. I'm going to go into this carrier snapshot. Okay, this is what we call a snapshot. A little bit more information on this carrier. First off, you get to see more of how old he is as far as the carrier, right? And you also get to leave notes. So leave your notes here. Whatever Jose says about, what he's looking for. Maybe he's looking for maybe more stretch flatbed loads than dry van, or maybe he's tired of, not being home on the weekends. We'll take down those notes and let's start calling brokers and see what we can find, right? We have the brokers on here, but here's his phone number, cell, fax. Obviously it's Jose. And then here's even where his headquarters is at. Maybe you send him a postcard. So you can really get creative on how to market too on the site. Let's send something to his address. See if he wants my dispatching services. If I did call them, or if I did call Jose from the site, like I showed you just a second ago, that will actually show up under the history. So if you send emails, make any calls, stuff like that, that will be under the history. If you add Jose and his trucking company on a list, that will be listed here. Okay, so what's kind of cool is you can actually start adding carriers to any list that you create, right? So it's kind of cool. You can create up to like 20 lists. You can add colors to them. It's actually kind of nice to stay organized just right in our platform. Okay, so that's where the list will come in. You can approve and reject carriers, right? So this just helps you do your due diligence, making sure that you are working with safe carriers. So earlier, I don't think we touched a whole lot of base on the safety scores, but you'll see this right here. Here's all the safety scores, right? And what we're showing you. So unsafe driving, hours of service, right? Drug and alcohol, stuff like that. So obviously, if you were to see all of this in red, to me, that's not good. I probably wouldn't want to work with that guy. Okay. So I probably would just reject. And if I had a team, this would really help my team understand, oh, we shouldn't work with Jose. Seems to have some driver fitness and drug alcohol problems going on. So let's not, waste our time. So you can either approve or reject. And this is what it looks like. You can add some notes and just approve. And we keep track of those in like a little vault for you as well. And then obviously, like I said, if you have a team, your whole team will see that. So let's scroll down here. So this is more breaking down Jose and his trucking company. You can see how many, his vehicle breakdown, mileage, more of the cargo carried. He's authorized for hire, and he does have his insurance. He does have his insurance right here, which is good. So this is actually always running in the background and updating. So that's kind of nice. So you get to see that. Let's continue to scroll down here. Related companies. Here's some inspections, right? Post-accident inspections. And then here's actually a cool map that you can really see where Jose likes to run. So like I said, if I were to be dispatching, I would definitely look closely at this map to understand Jose's route. If I can keep him in that route, I think he's going to work with me, more than the other dispatcher. I know where he likes to run. So maybe I use that on a phone call. Hey, Jose, I see you, you get to Tennessee quite often. What days are you there? I got some relationship with brokers in that area. This is what they got. I know you're a flatbed guy and a dry van guy. Would any of these be appeal to you? Would you like me to dispatch for you? I got relationships everywhere, right? So it's kind of cool. You can really use this on your phone call and marketing. And to add to that, below this map, what I'm highlighting, these are actually some of the shippers that Jose hauled for. Now, did he get them set up? Was he direct carrier, set up directly with the shipper, or he got it from a broker? I don't know that far. That's something that we don't get as far as that information. So, when you call Jose, I'm sure he probably got that load from a broker. In my opinion, Coca-Cola is huge. I can't really see him setting up directly with them, but you can kind of get a good feel of what kind of shippers he actually has worked with. And with Keith's plan, you would have access, or you will have access to our shipper data. So you'll have access to this here. If it's locked, that means you don't. But what I want to show you really quick, if you ever get to the point where you want to check out, who is Hood Container, well, you can actually click on that shipper, and what it'll do is take you over to the shipper data, and now you have that ability to take them out to Google, and let's go figure out, where this shipper is actually located, right? Oh, they got a LinkedIn and Facebook, kind of cool. So a lot of my brokers that I help out, they love to do this. Take it to Google, let's figure out some numbers. What does the shipper do? Stuff like that, right? So it's kind of cool. We try to keep you in one place at all times. So one last thing on this page, though, below this map, you're going to find similar carriers to Jose, right? So some flatbed, they're all from Texas, right? Kind of cool. Same size too, as well, with power units. So these are just similar carriers as well. Let's back it up here. So a couple things, I'm not sure if anyone on here has relationships with carriers now, but if you do, and you're having a good time with that carrier, type that carrier's MC number, DOT number, phone number, whatever you got, type it up here, up in the smart bar. Okay, and then what that's going to do is pull up that carrier's information. And then what you can do is this. So to the left of this percentage here, there's find some of the carriers and find matching shippers. But what you all would mostly want to focus on the find similar carriers. Because check this out. This could be another list for you to be reaching out to because they're similar to the ones you got now and you're comfortable with them, right? So this is just another completely different list for you to be hammering through. There's 10 pages there. What's kind of cool is you get that ability to add them to a list now, right? Let's select all, and then let's add to list. And then you can either add them to one of these or let's create our own list. We'll just do flatbed, Texas, and create list. Okay. I don't know if I was talking to anyone on here, but at the moment, if you wanted to add all 10 pages, you have to do it page by page. I know it's inconvenient, but that's what we have going on right now. On this next update, we will actually make a button here where you get the ability to download the first 10 pages right away. Okay, so it's going to be a lot more convenient. So add them to a list. You can take them off a list if you don't want them on the flatbed Texas. Go ahead and take them off, right? They're gone. If you want to email these 25 carriers, you can also do that from the site. And to be honest, I'm a big fan of just using your own email. And the reason I say that because it'll keep you more organized to have everything in one place. Okay, I know I'm going against my website here, but I truly am a big fan of just keeping all your emails in one place. But if you want to email from our site, feel free. I will say we are no different than like your Outlook or your Gmail, stuff like that. Okay, so if you try sending 5,000 emails from your carrier check, you will find that some of them will go to junk. Okay, so if you're going to blast that many emails out, take a look at Constant Contact or those other emails that you can be utilizing. So, but what it looks like, you can click this envelope and we can send an email to these 25 carriers only. So you can type up your paragraph, add a subject line, add pictures or links, stuff like that. If you just want to take the emails out and an email from your own email, which like I said, I recommend, you can do so. So for instance, select all and just copy email addresses, right? And then what I typically do is bring out my email. Hopefully you can see this. And what I'll do is BCC them. And look at this, they're all there ready to go. I like to check the names just to make sure that, if someone's email, look at this. So this email must not be, it doesn't recognize it. So what I would have to do is come on here and kind of go through there. Oh, there she is. Let's take it out, right? They're ready to go. You can send your email this way and keep it in your own. So that's available to you. We also have the ability to do it with phone numbers. So if you do any texting, as you can see, I do a lot of easy texting. You can export them and upload them somewhere else, or maybe you want to be one of those. I actually have a user that will literally just text from her own phone. So she would just type the number and start texting. So whatever you like to do, you pretty much have that freedom to do so. If you want to take, these 25 carriers to an Excel sheet, so you can upload it somewhere, you have that ability as well. So if you hit that little arrow, it's going to download for you, and it's going to pull out an Excel sheet like this. I think you should be able to see that. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Excel sheet. Okay. Now this only took out the 25 carriers that I had selected. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to take out all those 10 pages that were available, you would have to put them into a list. And then what we would do is go to the My List section and export everything. And I'll show you how to do that. But let's talk about what we do provide really quick. So as you can see, we got the company name, right? There's 2 names. So delete what you don't need, okay? And I'm honestly a big fan of just using the phone number column and not the cell phone, because you'll find out that some of the numbers are the same. But you, like I said, you get the freedom to do what you like. You got their emails, DOT, MC, who's going to be the point of contact. And my favorite thing is your notes. So if you do leave notes in our system, the notes will come out with them as well. So it's kind of nice. We bring it out for you. So that's our organizational toolbar there. You'll find that only on the brokers and carriers, not on the shippers, okay? Let me come back here really quick and I'll show you, just give you a brief preview of the find matching shippers. So each carrier will have a different list of shippers, okay? So these specific shippers match up to this carrier. Just from the data that we have on them, these shippers make the most sense for this carrier to be reaching out to. Okay. So yeah, this does give the carrier an opportunity to get set up directly with them. It does. And you can see how we provide this information for them. Okay. But I don't really talk to a lot of carriers that are calling direct shippers. It's a lot of work. They're driving in the truck all day. So this is where, you guys come in and make some relationships with brokers and kind of go about it that way. So that's the find matching shippers. And that's our carrier database. And this is all just find by location. The next thing we do have is the find by lane. Like I said, pretty self-explanatory. Just type in your lane and let's see what carriers that we have seen running that lane. So if they haven't been inspected, we're not going to see it. If they have been inspected, like these guys, we have seen that. Okay. So they ran this lane, been inspected, we've seen it, here they are. Right. And obviously, like I mentioned, like some of these carriers are going to be really big, like 486 power units, 347. Here's some smaller guys here. So that's the lane functionality. And then our filters are always still there for you to utilize. You can even swap the locations and then run your same search, right? So these guys are going from, Atlanta to Texas. Kind of cool. And one thing before I do move on here. So earlier we were doing just by carrier geographic location, right? So we were looking for pretty much their headquarters. Now check this out. What if I want to find those carriers that have been inspected in Chicago? They aren't from Chicago. So let's just do a quick example. I just did van. Let me make sure I switch this here. So DOT inspections, run your search. So check this out. This guy's from Atlanta, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. So these carriers have just been inspected in Chicago, right? I hope that makes sense. But this will just allow you to find even more carriers that are coming through there, right? If your broker is like, hey, I need to get a carrier to Chicago and maybe one of your carriers won't work out, well, let's get on here and start calling carriers and building relationships. If that's a dedicated lane, I think any of these carriers would love that. And you got the hookup, so it's kind of nice, right? So building relationships with brokers can really help you separate yourself from others, in my opinion. But so that's the DOT inspection versus the carrier geographic location, right? So these guys are from Chicago now. So a couple ways for you. Our recently added section, like I mentioned, these would be the area you would want to come find just recently added carriers. Okay, so there's 3 pages there. Now, how this works is after so many months, these carriers will start working their way off the recently added section, and they'll just kind of be normal on the site. So just kind of give you an idea how this recently added works. Okay, but remember, we do upload it once a month, and that's kind of how we got it set up. This next update will be updated daily, so it'll be a lot more convenience and ideal. So DocuVault, remember we talked about doing your due diligence, just approving your carriers. This is where we keep track of that. And then what's kind of cool is we'll actually take you to the date and time and who approved that carrier. So you can see we pull up the emails and then there's your date and time. And at that date and time that I approved them, this is what their safety scores were like, right? So you kind of have something to back you up if something were to happen, just doing that due diligence part. So communication, this is where you want to come and look at the emails that you would send out, or if you did send out a V-carrier check, that's there for you. If you make any phone calls from the site, outgoing, we're going to list that for you, or maybe you had some incoming calls, right? So we keep track of all the calls for you, just to help you stay organized. And then here's my list. So earlier, like I mentioned, if you were to put, let's say 20 pages on a list because you want to blast some emails out, do some text messaging, making some calls, which I really hope you do. This is where we come and do that. Okay. So find your list. Let me see if I can have a bigger list here. This one has 3 pages. So we'll do this. but you have that ability to edit your list. Maybe you want to add some color, right? Maybe you need to name it and just save it. Or maybe you're done marketing your list and you just need to delete it. Now you can do that. And then import export. This will give you the ability down here to export the list. So you can export your whole list of carriers. And then again, it just takes you out to Excel and it'll pull up for you there. It gets bunched up, but if you highlight everything and double click between the letters, it'll spread it out. So, and then like I said, your notes will come out. So pretty good information we bring out. If we don't bring out a piece of information that you would like, let me know what that is. And if it seems appropriate, we can throw it in there. So it's kind of cool. If you have some sort of feedback that you would like to see, and we think it's going to be beneficial for others, that's something we will add. So that is the carrier database. So just really quick, I'll touch base on the shipper database, if that's okay. But simply, this is kind of the same thing. You're running your searches, by lane, or sorry, not by lane, but by location. There's your place, add your filters, right? The only thing different with our shipper database, you can already tell we don't have point of contact, we don't have, emails, stuff like that. On our next update, we're going to be providing a lot of that for you. Okay, we want to try to do pretty much the hard work for you, if that makes sense. And I'll show you here in a second. But so here's some shippers. So how we get our shipper database, it's quite interesting. We actually get them from Bill Layden's. So before I showed up, Jared had built relationships with some partners of his, and what they do is provide us BOLs, and we're uploading a lot of that info on our site, and we actually update our shipper database once a month. Okay, and the same thing with the circles. How much, what kind of carriers and how much are they utilizing them? This guy or this shipper here doing a lot more hot shot, right? So you would definitely need to have a hot shot carrier ready to talk or getting ready to move on the load for them, or just be ready to talk hot shot, right? The blue on the map is just indicating where we see their freight being inspected while it was on the carrier's trailer. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea how this works, if I click on this shipper here, he may or may not be from Texas. So this is inbound, outbound, what we're showing you. So, but we do have a magnifying glass, which will take you to Google like we did earlier. And this is where you want to come and find, well, where are they located at, or, what am I going to be moving, right? So there's even a truck there. It's kind of funny. But you kind of see where I'm going with that now, right? So you have to do your prospecting this way. Unfortunately, like I said, at the moment, we don't have, who's the shipping manager or who's, in control of that. That's some stuff we're going to be trying to get on that next update. But hiring index, this is kind of cool as well, because we take a deep look into these shippers and what kind of carriers they're utilizing, whether they're bigger or smaller. And we like to see where they run. So for instance, if I look at this shipper again, they're doing some bulk, hiring index of 82%. So the higher that is, the better. If you see a 0% hiring index, that typically means that shippers either using bigger carriers, or they're using their own carriers. Maybe they got their own fleets, or they're using just more local carriers and they don't really seem to be shipping out of their region. Okay, so let's scroll down here and I'll show you really quick. So here's their map. Now this is just where we've seen that freight being inspected at. And then here's actually 2 carriers that they had utilized within the last year. Okay, and you can see how these guys are small. So for me, that as a small time carrier or maybe even a broker, I have a pretty good chance of trying to move a load with them. Okay. So another thing too, to kind of shed some light on this, we do put our smaller shippers at the front of this list, and they get bigger as you go back. So if I go to page 21, check this out, there's blue everywhere. And then you can see how much data we have on this shipper versus on page 1. And this is Home Depot. They're obviously huge. I live in a small town and we have one. So obviously they're everywhere, but you can see how they dramatically get bigger towards the end of that list. So, and what's kind of fun is now you have that ability to find shippers by keywords. So for example, if I type in plastic, Well, now I can pull up every shipper that has the word plastic in their name. Maybe I'm the king of plastic, right? Well, let's try to find some more shippers with that in their name. Or maybe you need to find more shippers in Chicago, and maybe you just type in Chicago and we pull up some shippers that have the word Chicago in their name. So you can see how you can start getting creative now, on our site. So one last thing I do want to discuss is just the auto assistant. We built this with brokers in mind, but dispatchers still use this. So what this auto assistant will do is you do have to pick a number, but you don't have to do with it anything with it, since you guys are just dispatching. But if you were a broker, this number would actually be placed on the load board. And really quick, how this works is brokers, if they post a load, they get a bunch of calls. If I was a one-man show, how do I answer 20 calls? I don't. I'm going to take like the first 3 calls and see what rate I get and run with it. So this essentially will help answer every call. And then what we do is we take in the rates while that broker just kind of sits back and watch it happen. So it's kind of cool. I really enjoy it. But where you would have the benefit from it is just calling from the site, stuff like that, right? So what you could do is put in your click to dial number. So this click to dial number would be your cell phone or your direct line, whatever number that you use to call carriers or brokers, right? So typically it's their cell phone, but when you do put in your phone number, just make sure you don't put dashes and just keep it, like this. Okay. So this is how you all would have the ability to use. And I honestly, I would just use it anyway, since you're paying for it. And you guys get a pretty sick discount with Keith promo code, and it's there for you. So if you ever need any help setting it up, just give me a holler. We'll do it for you. We do have a settings tab. If you want to edit your email signature, put your photo, your contact info, you can do so. You could change your password if you needed, and then your auto assistant settings there. So if you have any problems with like getting logged in, anything like that, just hit me up. I will tell you though, when you do sign into your account, you only can use your username and not your email. So remember your username and password and use that to log in. On the new site, you will have that ability to use your email or username, or I don't know if we're going to do phone numbers, but you'll have that ability. So that is basically the site we have going now. Really quick before I open it up for questions, because I'm going to answer a bunch of questions here, I bet. But this is the eCarrier Check 2.0. Okay, so you can see how much it's different. We're having weather, gas prices, stuff like that. Now you get that ability to start clicking, buttons. It's a lot more user friendly, in my opinion, and you can start running your search. So now you can see how many inspections these carriers have, if they have any matching company, stuff like that. And you can monitor carriers. So it's kind of cool. We're going to be providing. And I think what everyone here is going to love is this. So I'm going to show you really quick and then I'll answer the questions. But check this out. So this is our broker data. Keith, you might love this, but what we're adding now is not only we're going to have active broker authority. So these brokers have active authority. Okay, you can see that there. You now have that ability to add some filters as is, well, I need to find brokers that say they specialize in reefer or dry van or flatbed, right? So you would click that and it's going to start pulling results. So we haven't finished uploading the data, so it's probably not going to pull anything, but you kind of see where I'm going with that now. Okay, now what if you wanted to find every broker that has a LinkedIn account in that Houston area? Well, now you have that ability. So check this out now. There's their logo. If you click their logo, it'll take you out to their website, right? You obviously get to see, well, they do have some asset. Okay. You can see here what also they specialize in. So this keeps popping up, but for Central States Logistics, looks like they do some hot shot, express delivery, medical couriers. So you kind of see how now you get a feel for what these brokers are specializing in. Also, we get their social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, if they have it, LinkedIn, right? And we're going to add some like Instagram. What's the other one? We even have TikTok on here. So you'll see how now you get this at the, right in front of you. You don't really have to go searching anywhere. So I'm really excited for that to come out. I know it's going to be a lot more beneficial. So other than that, that's the site. And that's the beta site anyways. That's what I like to call it. Are there any questions on this site though?
Yeah, I got a
Yes.
question, Nate. I'm sorry, Victoria.
I got one too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Victoria.
Okay, so for the people who have already have an e-carrier check system, this new system that you just showed us about, how does that work with the system we already have? Like what you just showed us with the brokers, and you can do
Mhm.
the brokers, and you can see if they have Facebook or whatever, or go straight to their website through their logo.
Mhm.
Is this something you said this is coming out soon?
Mhm. Yep.
How does that work with what I already have as far as e-carrier check? Does it all combine together, or I have to buy a new one?
Nope, you're fine. So obviously you don't have that ability now. What
Yeah.
I would do is start Googling, but essentially once we get this update out, Victoria, this will just automatically happen for you on your account. And what I'm going to plan to do is probably maybe Friday or Monday is send out an email to every subscriber that I have and let them know, hey, in 30 days, we're going to have an update out. So be prepared. And
Whoa.
Half of them
That-
be my
awesome.
half of them be my students.
exactly.
That's
And
awesome.
our pricings will go up, but that will not affect your accounts currently. You'll be, what's the word, grandfathered in, I guess. So that won't change. But we are going to be upping the prices a little bit, not crazy. But yeah, so you'll have an indicator of when that's actually when it's gonna happen. And I believe we're gonna push it while everyone's sleeping, so probably through the nights, so that way
Oh
we
my
don't
God.
affect your
That is
work.
awesome. Okay, I'm done.
So the next thing is everybody need to hurry up and get e-carrier check so you can get grandfather in.
Yeah.
And
Man,
the other question I was gonna ask, because you just answered the other one about the price hike. With that phone number, are they gonna be able to receive incoming calls as well with that same number?
Yeah, they should be. So you're talking about the auto assistant number?
Right, the
Sorry.
auto system. So they make a call to a broker and the broker will be
Calls
able to
back.
call them back on that number.
That's a good question. So basically what's going to happen is that broker should see your cell phone number. Okay. Does that make sense? So when let's just say you call them, but they didn't answer, but they want to call you back, they're going to call your cell phone or direct line number. They don't call this number here.
No, okay, because I was just thinking like, okay, for the discount price that they're getting, that would also give them a basically a phone system that they don't have to give out their cell phone to.
Right. That's actually a good thought. Yeah, that's a really good thought. I'll have to talk to my programmers on how.
Yeah, because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the number that they call, like this 308 number, they use that number to contact the brokers back and forth. And too, that helps them from screening calls. Because a lot of times we getting calls all day and we don't know who's who. So if they calling directly
Right.
that number, you know exactly, oh, this is a broker.
Right. And I don't
And you
know
can
if
put
this
on a
is
different hat too. Because you using your personal cell phone, that's a lot of calls
Yeah.
that's coming in.
And you see how we're almost like that. You can see how I'm calling my number
Uh-huh.
now. So, basically what I see is if you call from our site, really this number is just built for brokers. Okay. That's why I kind of mentioned just focus on the click to dial, because this is really just built to be on a load board. So when carriers call in on a load, they just call this number, and that's when our system does the work. So I get where you're coming from. I like that idea. Maybe that's something we do in the future. I know Jared mentioned about.
Yeah, add that to 2.0.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
Hint,
Maybe we do that after we
hint.
drop it. But yeah, I like that idea though.
Yeah, because that would save a lot of people with trying to find the phone system and everything. Everything is a one-stop shop right there for you.
Right. And if we did make that happen, obviously we probably have to add like a package to it, because we don't even charge for the auto assistant. So if you make 100 calls, it's all free, from our system. We don't charge you by any means. So, but that's a really good thought though. I love that. Yeah, any other questions or thoughts?
And you say the new 2.0 will be out when?
I
In about
want
45 days?
I want to say 40 to 5 days. I say that because if I say 30 and let's just say we go past it, I don't want to lie. But I talked to my programmers yesterday and they're like, oh yeah, we should have it done before the 45. So just keep an eye out for an email from me and I'll try to give everyone a countdown of when that's coming out.
Okay, so the price should be a little bit more about what?
Yeah. For example, I think our Logistics Plus, let me just pull this up really quick. Because right now it's 120
Uh-huh.
a month. And that's not what you guys are gonna be paying at all, but I believe we're gonna be making it 139.
139.
I think so. That's kind of Jared's area with the pricing, but we are gonna be
139 and everybody here be grandfather in, so they still
Right.
they still at they discounted price.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
Which thank everybody. Y'all welcome.
yeah, Keith, you're awesome, man.
Yes, you are.
And here is his code while we're sitting here answering
Yo.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was a willing and dealing. Nate, tell them what.
Oh, he's willing and dealing.
Mhm.
And if you sign up and
Appreciate
forget to use it, call me and I'll add it to your account. And we essentially will just prorate your account. So if you forget it, that's okay. Just give me a call. Yeah, you are signed up. How are you? We talked on the phone too. Yeah, you are signed up. And of course, we obviously don't just have you guys sign up and expect Keith to help you. Like, give me a call. Let us help you run the site. I'll meet with you one-on-one if I need to. We do have a YouTube channel. Keith has starred on it. He's been on it.
Are you in the
So we go live every Friday. We're actually going live tomorrow. I'm going to be out Friday, but we've had some dispatchers on. We did some live calls. Like I said, Keith was on here.
3 times.
Right. And then I do have a training playlist here. So under the playlist on my YouTube channel, and then we have an e-carrier check training. And these will actually be taken down when that new update comes out, so I can do different ones that makes sense to the new data. But so yeah, we have that for you. If you ever need, if you're too afraid to call me, you can check that out.
Yeah, because I want to get a training on the new platform when it
Yeah.
comes out.
For sure, we'll make it happen. So yeah, I love the questions. Anything else?
Thomas?
No, I'll wait until what's called.
Dusty?
Not sure how many
Oh, I'm
people-
good, thank you.
Regina?
Nope, I'm good, Keith. I'll be getting my e-carrier check tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So we got another sale right there, Nate.
No,
I do have a
Regina?
quick question. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I got
Yeah.
the lower account, the 89 one. And I was considering, actually, I want to increase that. How do I go about doing that?
Yeah, so you actually would have to, on mine, I don't have it, but you'll have a billing dashboard here.
Yeah,
And just click that, and then you can go in there and upgrade your plan.
okay.
And
I was
you're probably paying like what? I'm not good at math, but you're paying 67% of that.
Yeah.
But essentially, you should be paying, what is it, Keith? Like, you should
Um,
be paying.
what, $10?
It's really cheap.
I'll take it for $5.99.
It's
I
like
wish.
$39 for the 119.
$40, 30.
No, he got the cheaper one. He has the cheaper
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm pulling it up now.
It's like $27 or something
Yeah,
like that.
$27.
Is it okay? Yeah, so you should be. I'm gonna pick on Therese here.
But yeah, I was just curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If
So
have
you
any
did
troubles,
use the
let me know.
discount, right, by Dusty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at Teresa's account. It looks like she's paying $39.60. Yeah, so that's what you should be paying. So, yeah, go ahead and upgrade. If you have any problems, just let me know.
And
So
then
if
y'all
you-
get $40 for all of that with the new system. Y'all be grandfather in. Oh God.
Oh
it's
yeah,
good.
this next system
Yes,
is
it
gonna be
is.
worth
That's
more than
great.
40, I'll tell you that.
That's great.
Nate, you got a direct number, like if I have any issues like purchasing it or like once I get signed up, or does it like send you an email?
Yeah, so this is honestly the best number to call, the 833.
Okay.
Yep. And I have a little thing that connects to my phone where if you do call, if I'm not in my office, it should ring to my phone. But typically if I don't answer, just leave me a voicemail or just send me an email and say, Nate, give me a darn call.
Okay, cool.
Denise,
Nate.
Denise got a question.
What's Nate's information? Yeah, let me put my email in here.
Mhm.
So here's my email.
Jasmine, I got a discount code that's you're gonna pay way less than what you see on here.
He said 3960
$39.60 with the discount
Yep.
code. Yep.
from 119. That's a blessing.
That is a blessing.
Yep.
And
Thanks, Nate.
yeah, no problem. Thanks to Keith for sure. But we hope to add some value. That's our goal here. You know, we want to be able to have you guys find here's the code. We want to be able for you guys to find relationships with those carriers. And not only that, like with monitoring, which will be huge, is when you do find carriers to dispatch for, monitor them. You'll get updates on when their insurance is about to expire, when they get into a wreck, or if anything happens. So
That's a lot.
it is, and you will actually have the ability to set reminders. So let's just say, you know, you got to call a carrier tomorrow. You can actually set a reminder for that, and it can be texted to your phone. You get a call or an email, stuff like that. So
All for $40.
and that's
That's what I'm
shoot,
talking
I can
about.
sit here all night to tell you what we're going to be having.
And
This
let
is
me
a
say
fair.
this. And let me say this. I am not getting no kickback. I fought tooth and nail for y'all to get this discount.
Yeah, he's not lying. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Denise got a
Thank you.
question. Denise,
Okay, so the $89, what's the discount for the $89?
So the discount is for everything, if that makes sense. So I think I understand what's going on. So this is just the standard plan. Since you guys are getting a pretty good discount, this is just a more, I don't know, beneficial plan in my
Right.
opinion. Because you get access to shippers if you want to tinker in that area, but so yeah, that's the difference between the two of them is with this plan, you only get access to carriers and brokers, but with this plan, you get everything.
It says plus. So what's the plus?
Where
It's
you
30, it says $119.99 per month plus $39.99 per month additional user.
right.
Okay,
So
for
let's
additional
just
user. All right,
Yep.
so if I was to do the 1919, would be the discount for me?
it's gonna be the 39.50, or is that what we said?
I think you said 3960, Nate.
it's $39.60.
Thank you.
$39.60.
Thank you. So
So
you
so from $119, it juked down to $39.60.
Yeah.
correct.
That's what I want. Right there.
All
And
right, so
then,
when the price go up, when the new feature comes in and price go up, what will that price be from $39.50 to what?
39.60.
Your grandfathered in. You'll
Your
have that.
grandfather
You'll have
in,
that.
so it's not
Yep.
gonna change.
Okay, well, that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna be grandfathered in? So what if
Yes.
I'm not able to be grandfathered in? I have to catch it on the next go around. What would be the next price for me?
That's a good question. So I would probably, that's the thing, when you're using Keith's code, I'm not sure how this works on our, we go through Stripe. So, I mean, you essentially probably just be paying 67% of like 140. You just, you get where I'm going with this. So 140 times that 67.
So isn't
Am I doing my math right? So I should be around like $42.
42?
Yeah, if you get it on that next update. But that's just an estimate. My boss hasn't put it in final print yet, but we did talk, we were thinking about like $139.99. But yeah, you'd be paying around $42 if that happens.
Okay, so that's still not bad. That's still not bad. It's right around the corner.
I agree. And the reason like I said, we're gonna be providing more value here,
Yes,
in my opinion.
yes, I love it. Because
Yeah.
this is beautiful.
Yeah, and you'll have one thing I do want to show you. We have a monitoring section here where you'll get monthly reminders and daily reminders
So that's
on
for
carriers that go active.
plus 35.
So yeah, any other questions? I love them. They're great questions.
One question.
Yes, Kevin.
So I currently have 123 load board. Does this do the same and more as 123 load board?
No, because we're just more of that sourcing sourcing platform. We do go hand in hand with the load board. I would never tell people to get rid of the load board because I'm doing this. I think that you still need a load board because what happens if a load falls off or your broker that usually has something for you doesn't have anything. So that's where that load board comes into play. But we want to make sure that you build enough relationships that where you don't have to rely on that load board. So we're different because you can monitor, you can see all these carriers that are active. You know, another thing I did get as kind of a good question too was, well, am I able to post my truck on here to let brokers know I got a truck in that area? We don't have that. That's something I'm trying to talk my boss into getting, but you know, we got to take one step at a time. But that's a very good question.
Shanice got a question.
Can I book a load from this site?
Here's the thing. And Keith can probably elaborate more on this, but dispatchers don't really call shippers. So that's the whole thing is with our site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are direct shippers.
I done said that numerous of times that that's illegal for you to do that.
Yeah. If there's a team of dispatchers, does each dispatcher need an account or can multiple dispatchers work from one account? Good question. Do you see the notes other dispatchers leave or do you only? Oh my gosh, these are good questions. So the first one, if you have a team of dispatchers, you can actually add them. That's where it gets tricky because you guys are pretty much under Keith's account. Let me get back to you on that, on how that would work. But you should be able to add a user to your account, Shanice, and then they just be under you. So what that will give them the ability to do is look at your notes. As long as they're signed up under your account, they'll see everything that you have. And no, you will not see other notes that dispatchers leave. You will see notes on this site, on the new site, on what dispatchers are leaving on brokers and carriers. So if you see a carrier's a double broker, leave a review on them. We will see that. But good question. So if you do want to add a user, what that would look like is you would need to upgrade your account to another user. So you would have two, and then you would send them an email and they would click that link. And then essentially you would be paying for their account, just to give you an idea. But let me double check on how that would work with Keith's promo, because obviously if you add a user, this is how much you'd be paying. And that's, you know, you'd be paying cheaper than that.
You damn near free, won't it?
I assume so. I've never actually had that question. So Shanice, you got me. So let me talk with Jared on that, how that would work or how it looks to give you a better answer on that. Okay.
And I just want to say this, and I'm not bragging or anything, but I'm the only person that got that discount.
Yeah.
Everybody else is 10%.
Uh-oh, go Keith.
Yeah, he's actually not lying. Yeah. So
I got a question right quick.
yes.
Yeah, I called you up, I think about 3 or 4 times, whether it's changing my account, password, problems or whatever the case may be. And I work overnight. And I call you early, and no matter how early I call you, you always answer the phone. So what I wanted to ask, what is your office hours? Because I don't want to be disrespectful or whatever the case may be.
Bobby, I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate that. So we're Mountain Time, so I'm just an hour ahead of, wait, I guess I don't know where Bobby, where you're from, but I'm in Mountain Time. So right now it's 6 o'clock. I come in the office at 7 and I leave at 5. So I would have left an hour ago, but I wanted to see you, see everyone here, which I love doing. If Bobby, if you have a question and you're up at night, send me an email, brother, to just my email in the chat and say, Nate, this is going on. Take a look. And while you're sleeping, I'll do the work for you and get you figured out, brother.
Okay, sure, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Of course. I try to get back to everyone if that does call in, and if I don't get it, I do apologize. I don't ever ignore anyone. It's just I got so much going on, and if I don't answer, leave a voicemail or just send me an email. Yell at me through an email. I don't care, but I want to make sure I take care of you the best I can. I got to do this for like 1,000 other users, so just kind of bear with me. But I'll make sure to take good care of every one of those 1,000 people for sure.
Nate,
Got you.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible if I send you over a list of people that trying to get to get grandfather in, but they're not ready just yet? Would you be able to work with them so they can still get grandfather in before the new one come up?
What do you mean? Like, they're just not ready to sign up yet, but they
want to sign up, but
they're just
let's
not
say
ready.
it goes next month and people got things that's going on. So, everybody trying to work on something, but they want to get it.
Yeah.
But if they can get locked in at that price, so give them like a little grace period.
Well, you guys are putting me on the spot tonight. That's a good question. Unfortunately, I can't make that decision. Once we go live with the new data, the price will be up, and I don't know if there's much I can do from that. So my answer is no right now, but let me talk with Jared on that. Because I'm not there's a totem. There's me and there's Jared. So I kind of have to talk to him, but
I'll call Jared tomorrow and bug the heck out of him.
Yeah, but Keith, I don't know, man. I don't know if that would be something we could do, because when we up our prices,
the
we
price
have
is
to.
gonna be the prices. Well, it don't hurt to ask. Don't hurt to ask.
It doesn't. It
Like
doesn't.
45 days though, right, Nate? You said about 45 days before the new one come out?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay.
It shouldn't be any longer from what I heard from the programmers. Hopefully sooner, but like I said,
Well, I can't wait because I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this one. I already got it set up on my thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one monitor just for that
Keep on
alone.
it.
And Keith, I'll give Jared a call here after I get done and talk to him about that and
Okay.
see what he can do, see what he says. But yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So
Okay. Fabio had a question.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I apologize if this if you already answered this, but how do we get entered into the database entered into your database? So let's say if like a carrier's like, look, I need a dispatcher and I need it within this range. How do we get entered? So when they look into a search bar, our names pop up, or do you guys have that option yet?
we don't have that option yet. It's hard for us to get dispatcher information.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Because I had kind of that same question.
Wow.
I kind of had that same question with carriers. Like, can I post my truck on here to let brokers know, or we don't have that ability. But I mean, there's no, it's not a no in my opinion. If we can make it happen, we sure would. I mean, obviously, it's going to provide you some value, man. So, but yeah.
Yeah, but then there's gonna be a lot of deadbeat dispatchers in there too. So how would you screen them out?
Yeah,
that's a good question. So what we have doing now, because they're obviously deadbeat brokers too. Well, you will have that ability to leave. Let's just look at a carrier. Or wait, this is a broker, but you actually can leave a kudos, or something bad happened, you can leave a review.
Now, the only thing, if you was to do that with a dispatcher, the only problem I would have with that is because dispatchers, a lot of times it's not the dispatcher, it's not the broker, it's the carrier. The carrier would tell you one thing and you fight tooth and nail to get that person a load, then they refuse that load, or they only want to go so far. Then they may be in an area to where there's nothing coming out.
Right.
Because I have an incident right now like that where every load I get this guy, he's shooting it down. So I'm like, you know what, I'm done.
Well, check this
And-
out, Keith.
Huh?
If that were to be the thing, check this out. Add a comment here. Let us know what's been going on. And that
Okay.
would be here for other dispatchers and other brokers.
Okay.
Everyone gets to see that. So
Yeah, because that would be the thing, because uh, for some reason carriers never tell the whole story. They only tell they have like, oh, he's
Okay.
not finding me nothing. That's not true. We're finding
Right,
you stuff.
right.
You're just not accepting what we're finding.
exactly. You're right, though. I would probably wouldn't waste my time, but what's kind of nice too, if you do leave a review, we will actually email that trucking company and let them know what was left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're getting pretty weird on this next update.
Oh, wow. I like the graphics. I like how you can see the weather. You can see where the hot markets and everything.
Yeah, the gas prices, weather.
Yes.
We're going to be adding some more to the brokers. We're just trying to figure out what's going to be beneficial. But we'll be adding some more stuff to that.
Because those gas prices alone will help a whole lot to, you know, where not to send your drivers to.
Right.
Yeah. And I see you got the box truck on there too.
Yes, sir. Of course, we had to, man. We had so many, box truck carriers and dispatchers looking for box trucks. We're like, we got to do this. So we got box truck and box truck reefers.
Oh, wow.
And then
Okay, and
Sprinter.
Sprinter van.
Hmm.
Okay, yes, I like.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, I put in my info in the chat. If anyone has any other questions or concerns, my info's there. I'm not shy, so give me a call. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail, email me, yell at me, whatever. But yeah, my hope is to take care of everyone, obviously, and hopefully that we could grow your dispatching business. Right, that's the goal. Build some relationships and kind of go from there. So, yeah, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Sharice.
Good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Nate. Thank you.
Hey, that
much,
sounds
man.
good. Yeah,
All
man.
right,
I'm gonna get,
thank you.
I'm gonna
Have a
get
good
Karen
night.
a call. We'll
All
talk
right.
tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
All right, who got the questions for me? Drop them. Come on.
I don't have no questions, but I sure can see that it's a big difference between using his system and that what's that system called? FMCSA.
The FMCSA.
Yeah, where they don't hardly
Yeah.
give you no information. you
Yeah,
know?
that's the government thing.
Yeah, that's what I was always, like I was telling you, Keith, from my friends and family that was off in the dispatch, and they was telling me you had to go on that site to
No, they tell you to go there to find carriers.
right.
Go ahead, Denise.
Much better.
I was gonna ask him, he was thinking my thought. I was gonna ask him, what's the difference between his system and the FCMSA?
His system is a little bit more in depth than the FMCSA. The FMCSA, when you go on there, it's not telling you what type of equipment they have. It's just giving you the basics.
Well, let me see. Because there's another part to that, and it does show you the trucks that they have, their information, their phone number. It gives you all that on there.
But it doesn't tell you the type of equipment. It just tells you trailer. You don't know if that's a reefer. You don't know if it's a flatbed. You don't know what it is. You just know they got a trailer.
Okay.
This is showing you exactly like when it says a straight box, you don't know if that's a box truck or a Sprinter van.
Okay.
When it says straight truck. So you have no clue to what you're grabbing. And sometimes that straight truck could also be a hot shot. So you never know. This right here is giving you more details on what it is.
And it seems like it's just so less time consuming.
It is. It's very, very
You know,
less.
even if you just want the basics from the FMCSA, you almost have to go to 2 different pages and
You do.
and everything just to get that.
So like if you just want to focus directly on box trucks, you can go in there and just click box trucks. It's gonna pull up all your box trucks. You just want to do power onlys. It's just gonna pull up all power onlys. So with the FMCSA, you don't know what you get until you call them. You may think they got a box. You may think they got a dry van, and turn around, they got a box truck. Go ahead, Denise.
Okay, so I noticed also you on your website, on your personal website, you have the FMCSA book. How can we all get a copy of that? And if somebody
Amazon.
Oh,
Buy it
okay.
at Amazon. And that book there, that book there is keeping you aware of what's going on, because you're gonna remember all your carriers are pretty much new. So you study that, you'll be able to master everything, and anything that comes along, you'll be able to know right then and there, hey, this was going on, this was going on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's $96 on Amazon.
And then you have a class for that or no?
Nah. No,
Everybody's
that's just
self-taught.
yeah, it's just self-taught. You just go in there and you just study what you see.
Okay.
That book like 100, it's like 850 pages. That'd be a whole year trying to study that.
It have updates. I guess you got to go online to get the updates.
Well, they pretty, yeah. I mean, it's pretty standard information.
Keith, I got a question.
Who was that? Regina? Go ahead.
Yes. So when I go on here and start looking for like my carriers and my brokers, right? Because today I was like sitting here like, dang, I should have got my e-carrier check. I was thinking about this earlier. Do I need to look for people like what area, like, because you know I'm in Tampa, like, do I just look for people like in my area, or can I look for like carriers and brokers everywhere?
You can look for them everywhere. You're not obligated to be in one area. You can look anywhere.
Okay.
Actually, it's better for you to come out of your comfort zone, because like in where you're at in Florida, may not be nothing coming up out of Florida.
Exactly. But I used to live in Lansing, Michigan, so I know like the Midwest area is kind of like
that's what you would want to try to focus, put some of that focus on, is the Midwest.
The Midwest, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you want to focus where, start where areas that you know. Hello?
Hello?
I think he might have walked away, Sid, or maybe.
I'm like, crickets.
Yeah, hold on.
Are you guys going through OTR? Are you guys kind of finding your own stuff on boards and stuff?
And see, OTR, is that the factoring company? What's OTR? Over the road? What's the
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't even done my first load yet. I got my TMS system. I got all my stuff, but I'm trying to find carriers. I had a little business meeting that was scheduled